What's up, y'all? It's Kenny back with another video. Today I'm going to be talking some raw thoughts about what is holding you back. Got my notes in front of me, got some water. This a nice little study break that I'm having right now, and I'm bringing you guys a video, so hope you appreciate that. And I love doing this, and it's all part of the grind. I've mentioned that in a bunch of other videos where it's like you got to remove distractions and you got to grind hard and focus on what you want, and have your main thing, but then have your side project, and then show up, do whatever you can for the day rather than not showing up at all. So this is me doing that. Got to practice what you preach. So let's go. So really, I'm here to talk about the proper system, and a lot of it is just about consistency after that. So you know what you're doing leads to what you currently have. So you have to create a new system. You're gonna fall to the level of your system, not your goals. The whole point is you can achieve your goals when you only focus on your system, and potentially even more, because all of your focus is on the things that create the results. Either way, you're optimizing the chance to produce the best results by putting all the focus on the daily work. Also, your goal or your results can be even well beyond, like I said, or even quite differently than you actually planned. Because you can't necessarily predict necessarily. You can't fully understand what is going to be the outcome of your good habits. Now you're going to have your goals, but chances are you accomplish things that you didn't even realize would come along with you doing these good habits. And that's the thing about not necessarily focusing so much on the goal. Like, set the goal and then just kind of like forget about it. Because if you think so much about the goal, I mean, it's important to visualize and to see yourself obtaining the goal and being the person that can attain the goal. But focusing heavily on the goal is not going to make you get the goal. What makes you get the goal is putting in the focus and putting in the work, nailing your system and being consistent. So if you were to basically set your goal, remind yourself like daily, weekly, visualize yourself obtaining that goal, even visualize yourself doing the work, like doing the system, then like for the, I guess the 95% of the other time, all you do is focus on putting in the work, then you're gonna for sure achieve the goal. But the opposite is not true. So imagine if you were to shift all of your focus into the system and just get the best results possible. You know, that's definitely what you should consider doing. You know, guys, with a proper system, the thing that separates you from your end result is just time. Why? Because you need consistent actions over time to create the change. You have to believe that this works as well. And think about it. You already know where your old actions lead. So therefore, these new actions give a different result. You just need to, one, actually do them. And I know that sounds crazy, but literally what separates a champion is literally their ability to be more consistent than you. They're not really doing something secret, something magical. Yes, they may have certain methods that you've never thought of, but they do the basics and they do them longer, and they put in more effort in the basics than you do. And the magic is in the consistency. And that leads me to point two. Do them long enough for the results to add up. So one, you're actually doing them, and then two, you're actually doing them long enough. I don't typically show my hair. By the way, guys, I cut my own hair. I used to buzz cut my hair, and I used to obviously cut my hair for that, which is a lot easier than doing a style like this, but you'd be surprised, doing a style like this is pretty easy. Granted, I'm only cutting the sides and the back, and then I'm letting the top grow, and then when the top gets too long, I just cut it back down to the longest length that I have for the razor or whatever, I can't even think of the name, the shaver, which is not super long. So then the top is like a little bit shorter. And then I just kind of match by cutting the sides and the back down a little bit shorter. And then I just continue to cut down the sides and the back when it's time for a haircut every, month or month and a half. And then just keep letting the top grow. And then when the top gets too long, I just cut it back down, because I'm not really able to scissor cut on my own. That's not really something that I'm interested in learning either, because I kind of think that to actually do that properly would probably take a lot of effort, and I'm probably going to butcher that pretty bad. And I don't want to have bad hair. So I don't know what my hair looks like right now, to be honest. I can't really see it that well on the camera. Because I showered and I didn't necessarily fix my hair. I just don't have a hat on. So I didn't necessarily do it up and whatever. I'm thinking of starting to put a little bit of like a paste instead of like a gel or like a hair gel or like a hairspray. I'd rather use like a paste, something that doesn't have like a shiny finish, something with like more of a matte finish. So that's what I'll probably do. Use some sort of a paste when I want to actually rock it as like a hairstyle instead of a hat, to do my hair up a little bit nice, you know, have a little bit of style. But I didn't do that today, so this is without the paste, but I probably should apply something to have somewhat of a better style when I'm just having like my hair show. But I mostly wear my hat, as you guys probably know. But anyways, let's continue here. So guys, results tend to come in a seemingly overnight fashion after working at it for years. It's not linear, it's exponential. Like I said before, you know what the old actions lead to, so do something different and it's gonna lead to a different result. It's gonna lead to a different personality, personal reality. That's getting kind of corny with the sayings, but it's definitely true, and it's a good way to remember it. And it's gonna feel different because you are becoming a new person, and that new personality is gonna feel different. Like I said before, that new personality will create a new life, which will also feel different. If you know you're doing the right thing, then just embrace what it feels like to do that thing, or those things that build up to allow you to be the person that you want to be, because this is what it would feel like to live the life that you dream about. So now if you're talking about like, you know, I want a six-pack. If you learn what you need to do to have a six-pack and you're doing the actions, then that's what it feels like to have a six-pack. Eventually, when you lose enough fat to get the six-pack, but that's what it feels like to look like that version of yourself that you've been dreaming about. So, you either embrace it or realize that the things that are required to have the results that you want, which are typically results that are hard to get, and they're things that make us stand out in life. There's a reason that most people don't have it. It's because it's hard work, and what that hard work feels like is not the most comfortable feeling. But if you're willing to embrace that feeling, then you're gonna have whatever you want, because you're gonna be willing to embrace that feeling and put in the work that you have to put in to get to where you wanna be. You'll need to make small changes that you can stick with. Then when you stick with it, you're going to go through weeks, maybe even years, before you get results that actually make a difference. But you will break through to new levels as you go, so you will have evidence of results. You're not just gonna overnight transform, you're gonna make incremental improvements. If you just keep going, you'll have a massive breakthrough. And once you got good results, the results get better and better. And even though it's hard to get to this point, and it's evident really across all of our lives in so many different areas, anything that needs to be improved generally works in this way. Building skills is hard, but your hard work pays off. And then when you get the results, it's easier to continue to make results, because once the snowball gets rolling, once it's halfway down the hill, it's much bigger. There's so much more momentum. It's easier when you see progress, and bigger progress, to be more addicted to putting in the work, which then fuels the positive cycle of getting more results. And then when you have more success, you have more resources, so then it's easier to advance yourself and make improvements that much. I don't want to say easier, because to make improvements is still, technically it gets harder and harder, but because of your change in situation, your change in resources, your change in mindset, personality, it actually kind of becomes easier to continue to make results, even though they get harder and harder. And like I said, you get addicted to the results because now your work, whereas before it wasn't showing results, because it kind of takes a while to break through until you can start to see results. The hard work that you're putting in is going to get you massive results, and they're going to be visible right away. So that's super, super addicting, motivating, and it really enhances your discipline because you're seeing the results in real time, and makes it easier for you to just like keep going. And a good like explanation of that is when you start out at like a high body fat percentage, to make this about losing weight, even though this is not specifically about losing weight. When you start out at a higher body fat percentage, when you lose, say, 20 pounds, you're gonna basically look like the same person, but just smaller. So you're not really gonna look impressive. And if anything, when you first start losing weight and you have a high body fat, you're gonna look worse than when you started, because now your muscles are flat because you've depleted your glycogen stores. But once you get to a low enough body fat, when you lose weight, you start to look more and more impressive. But it takes a long time to get to this point. You have to get lean enough, and then you start to change drastically. And I've noticed this in myself, because right now I'm cutting. The first 10 pounds, granted, I didn't start at too high of a body fat percentage, but I started at say like 19, 20%, which is fairly high, but not super high, because you'd be surprised how much fat you actually have. Like, people vastly underestimate their body fat percent. I started and I lost, guys, so far about 10 pounds. And now that I've lost 10 pounds, now I'm starting to look different. And I'm even, I would say, another 5 pounds away from then once you start losing weight, you basically start to be looking more and more impressive with each pound that comes off, rather than just looking basically like the same version of yourself, but just getting smaller. And when you see these results, is what I'm trying to say, it's just so addicting. And the fact that you can actually see a direct correlation between what you put in and what you get out, you just want to keep working. But you have to be willing to put in work for a long period of time, whatever that looks like for whatever your goal is, without seeing results directly, until you get to that point where when you put in work, you see results directly. Work really hard when you're not seeing the results to then get to that point. So what's holding you back? Is it that you don't believe this works? Well, just know that there's no such thing as an overnight success, so it works. You have to maximize the days and add the days up. You need to show up. Or, guys, is it that you don't know how? Not likely, but if it is, then do your research. A lot of the times, though, we do know how to do things. We just need to be reminded, and we just need to be consistent. Leading me to the other point, is it because you're not consistent? So again, is it that you don't believe it works? Is it that you don't know how? Or is it that you're not consistent? Most likely, that's where we all fall off. Set your eyes on the system, the daily, weekly actions that you will do to get there. From then on, try to improve. Set it and forget it. You will eventually break through and be like, dang, I see results. Now, these results are the new baseline, and when you just keep going and going, you're going to achieve your goals anyways, but the joy is in the journey. I think I butchered that. Now, what I meant to say is, now these results are the new baseline. Like, when you break through, these results are the new baseline, and you just keep going up and up and up. That's what I meant to say. And then the next part is, you're going to achieve your goals anyways, but the joy is in the journey, right? You want to stay in the game. Keep extending your journey. What use is it if you gain your goal, then just stop? You could lose your results, or you could just plateau. This is why it's important to focus on staying in the game, even if it's just making minimal improvements. And you do this by focusing on how you live your life and continually improving. You can do this by believing that you are the person, then your actions simply reinforce your belief. You also need to believe that this works. This is a fundamental principle of self-improvement, and it does work. That is showing up and being consistent and giving your best effort for the day. That is a fundamental principle of self-improvement, and that these days add up, and then eventually you will see massive results. Think about it and then do it. If you're not convinced, then try it anyways and just watch. You'll see results. It's important to just decide to do it and then literally just forget about it. Just understand and know that you're going to be the person that sticks to this plan, and then just stop thinking about having an excuse. Just fully focus every day on maximizing that day in accomplishing what you said you would do in alignment with your goal. Be happy about the tough days as well. Those are when results are double. Picture, if you did all you wanted to do after 1 year, would you be where you want to be? You would be like, yeah, of course, I'd be a way different person. It's so much improved and life would be way better. But do you realize that a year will pass one day at a time? So it's what you do with the days that over time will lead to that massive transformation. It's like this. The big picture is to be a champion, and then there are certain categories required to be the champion. categories that you must master. Within each category, there's actions that you have to do and things that you must not do as well. So if you do those, it's going to feel a certain way, probably difficult, probably a strange feeling, probably going to give you mood swings. But if you just embrace it, that is what it feels like to be successful in those categories. A champion is willing to accept that certain things are required. Then they just embrace the way it feels to do them. Then you master the categories, add up all the categories, and then the big picture, when you step back, is being the champion. So if you want to be a champion really bad, you'll do what you have to do regardless of feelings and always find a way to win. The bad days don't matter in terms of how you feel, because in the end you forget all about them, and even the easy days, you just forget about all that stuff. You forget about all the work, and you just know if you have the results. And if you do, you'll be really glad that you did put in the work. You'll feel really rewarded, and you'll also have the rewards. The rewards is becoming the best version of yourself and living life to the fullest, and thereby accomplishing whatever goal you set out to accomplish. I'm going to end it with this. Imagine if there was an alternate universe where the perfect version of you existed. Forget the past, focus on if that person existed by doing the actions that you want to do from now on, moving forward. And let's say you fast forward like 10 years from the point of deciding that you're going to do everything that you said you would do and avoid everything that you said you would avoid. The person who did what they had to do with 100% consistency, no matter what, picture that person. The one who didn't give up no matter how tough it got. What would that person look like? What life would they have? Think about it. This is a version of you. Will you achieve this? You've got to make the choice. Imagine that version of yourself and that life that they would live. Imagine how incredible it would look. Now work for it. I believe in you guys. It's a choice. Whatever you discover to make you hold on to your choices is important, but at the end of the day, it doesn't even matter. It could be as simple as you just decide to make the change and never look back. You don't need to have some crazy solid reason, some crazy special day, some crazy special memoir of when you started. That's what I'm doing at the root, but also I have my other reasons. So just get started, do your best, make your life count. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. This is Kenny's Raw Thoughts on what is holding you back. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.